Welcome to English Podcast 2.0, the easiest way to learn English on the go.
Welcome to the deep dive. We've got some really interesting stuff in front of us today, sort of a mix of notes, maybe a transcript that pulls together a very practical way to work on your English speaking and, well, this story that just kind of grabs you.
Yeah, it really does.
So our mission for this deep dive is basically to unpack the key ideas here. We're going to look at a specific language technique and explore this simple but pretty powerful story that's actually used in the practice material. How do they connect? What can we learn?
Well, and that's the fascinating part, isn't it? This material gives us insights, not just into the mechanics of learning to speak.
The how-to.
Exactly, the how-to, but also into these subtle ways that stories and even specific words can deepen understanding and create a real connection.
A connection with the language itself, maybe.
Yeah, and with the message. It's like the method and the message aren't just next to each other. They're woven together. Really nicely done.
Okay, so here's a quick plan for you listening. We'll jump into that practice technique first.
Yeah.
Then we'll get into that story rainy day, pink umbrella.
The pink umbrella.
And then zoom in on some of the vocabulary. Should be some aha moments, I think.
Definitely.
Okay, let's start there. Unpacking this language technique, it's called shadowing. Now, if you haven't come across it, what exactly is shadowing based on this?
Right. So the way it's described here, shadowing is presented as, well, simple, but actually remarkably effective for your spoken English.
Okay.
It helps with pronunciation, listening skills, kind of all at once.
Yeah.
The main idea is you listen really carefully to someone speaking English.
Paying attention to.
To the rhythm, the flow, the intonation, the music of the language and the precise sounds.
And then you just repeat it back, like an echo.
Exactly like an echo. You listen to maybe a sentence or just a phrase, pause it, and then you repeat it out loud. But the crucial part is trying to match exactly how it sounded. The tone, the speed, even the emotion behind it.
Ah, okay. So it's way more than just reading words off a page.
Yeah.
The material really emphasizes that, doesn't it? It's like training your brain and your mouth.
Yeah, training them to make the sounds and rhythms feel more natural, almost like you're mimicking a native speaker's patterns. It's active. You have to get involved.
They're physically involved, yeah.
That active part is key, and the material explains why it's so good. Doing this regularly apparently helps your English sound more confident, clearer. And yeah, it even suggests it can sound more, quote, native-like because it improves your prosody.
Prosody, the rhythm and melody.
Right. It builds that muscle memory for fluency, for rhythm, makes it flow better.
So if you're out there looking for something practical, something you can actually do to improve your spoken English, this shadowing technique, as it's laid out here, sounds like it could be, well, a real game changer. Simple idea, but potentially big results.
Seems that way, yeah.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. The material takes a different approach. Instead of just, random sentences to shadow.
Right, like drills.
Yeah, exactly. It uses a story, and the story is called She Found a Note on a Pink Umbrella. So let's get into that. What's it about?
Okay, so this story introduces us to a character named Rachel. We meet her, and it's described as a messy, rainy Monday morning. You know the type.
Oh, yeah. Waking up to rain. Feeling heavy about work.
Exactly. Even though she works in a bookstore and loves books, but it's just one of those days, and to make it worse, her own umbrella is broken. Adds to the gloom.
That classic setup for a bad day. We've all been there.
Totally relatable. So she's walking to the bus stop, feeling damp and cold, kind of hunched over.
Trying to disappear a bit.
Yeah. And that's when she spots something out of place. A pink umbrella. Looks pretty new. Just leaning against a wall, nobody near it.
The pink umbrella. Stands out on a gray day, I bet.
It really does. So she goes closer, cautiously, and finds a note attached to it.
And the note. This is the turning point, isn't it?
Absolutely. The note says something like, if you're reading this, it means you need it more than I do today. Take it. Stay dry.
Wow. Just like that. From a stranger.
Just like that. An unexpected act of kindness.
And you can almost picture Rachel's reaction from how it's described, like her eyes widening. Maybe a small smile, the first one all day.
Exactly. Feeling seen, That warmth, that connection, just from a simple note and an umbrella, it apparently shifts her whole feeling about the morning.
And powerful.
And it doesn't stop with her. The story goes on to say she feels inspired by this.
Ah, so she passes it on.
Yes. She decides to leave one of her own favorite books on the bus stop bench later with a similar note. And then the material describes this sort of quiet chain reactions starting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, other people start leaving little things too. Maybe some warm gloves, a little bag of candy. Like the shared unspoken kindness begins.
So, okay, what's the meaning here? The material's pretty clear. It's not just, background noise for practicing English.
No, definitely not. It carries this really strong message
Yeah.
about finding hope when things feel messy, about paying attention, really seeing the world and people around you, finding beauty even on a tough day.
It's a reminder that people care, that you're not alone.
Exactly. And crucially, that you also have that power yourself to start something kind or pass it on.
And connecting this back to the shadowing technique,
Yeah.
this is where it gets clever, right? Shadowing this story means you're not just practicing sounds.
No. You're practicing the feelings.
The shift in emotion, going from Rachel's gloomy Monday feeling
to the surprise, the warmth of finding the umbrella.
and then that feeling of quiet inspiration when she decides to leave the book.
Right. So when you shadow that, you're not just mimicking words, you're trying to mimic the prosody of those emotions, training your voice to express that nuance.
Which makes the language feel more alive.
Exactly. And it makes the message of the story sink in deeper, too. It's like practicing language and empathy at the same time.
Okay. The material also helpfully breaks down some specific vocabulary from the story, which is great, seeing words in context like this.
Yeah, it makes them stick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's look at a few. For instance, the word mumble.
Mumble, right.
The definition given is, speaking softly, unclearly, maybe out of nerves or embarrassment, like your words don't quite come out right.
Like saying sorry really quietly.
Exactly. The analogy used is just that like a quiet, almost garbled sorry when you feel awkward or on the spot really captures that feeling.
It does paint a picture. What's another one?
How about slid down? Vivid image there.
Okay.
The definition is moving smoothly downwards, sometimes without meaning to. And the example given is just perfect. Ice cream melting fast and it just slid down the cone.
Oh, yeah. You instantly get that sense of smooth, maybe messy downward motion. Makes the phrase memorable.
Totally. Then there's messy day. That phrase really sets the scene for Rachel at the start.
It does. What's the specific meaning given?
Well, simply a day where things seem to go wrong, feels chaotic, out of control, like missing your bus, spilling your coffee, forgetting something important.
We've all had those days.
Definitely. And learning phrases like that, or words like mumble, within a story with an emotional arc, it makes them feel less like vocabulary list items.
And more like actual tools you can use to talk about real life.
Precisely. Oh, and there's a fun one too. High five.
The celebration.
Yeah. Defined as that gesture, slapping palms together, celebrating something good, job well done. The material even suggests giving yourself a high five after practicing the shadowing.
I like that. Reinforces the positive feeling of making progress.
Mm-hmm. And maybe one more idiom, flew over your head.
Classic. Meaning
you didn't understand something. The example used is the common one. A joke you didn't get. The punchline just sailed right past you, flew over your head.
Got it. Okay, so pulling this all together now, we've got this very practical technique, shadowing for spoken English, paired with this genuinely moving story about kindness, the pink umbrella.
Right.
And then specific vocabulary made clearer because of that story.
And I think this combination really highlights something important about, how we can approach learning, especially language.
That it doesn't have to be boring drills.
Exactly. This material shows how engaging with content that means something, that tells a story, that connects emotionally, it can make learning way more effective and probably more enjoyable, too.
You're not just learning words, you're feeling them through the story.
You're internalizing it, yeah, through narrative and feeling.
And the story itself, the pink umbrella, it works on two levels. It's the practice material for the shadowing.
And it's also the core message from the material, showing how small actions can ripple outwards, create connection.
Yeah, between strangers even.
And the shadowing technique in that context feels less like just mimicry and more like an invitation.
An invitation
to you, the learner, to really lean in, participate, try to embody the language and the feelings in that story. It's a commitment, really, trusting that those small practice efforts add up.
So this deep dive, it really uncovers this powerful synergy, doesn't it? A hands-on way to practice your speaking, woven together with this beautiful, memorable reminder about kindness.
It makes you think, doesn't it? About the shadowing technique, maybe. How could you use that kind of active, imitative practice in your own learning? Could it shift things for you?
And the story, too.
Mm.
How might a small act of kindness, like with that umbrella, change things on a messy day for you or someone you cross paths with?
Yeah.
Here's maybe the final thought to chew on. If shadowing helps you kind of inhabit the feelings and rhythms of a story about kindness, could actively practicing the language of kindness or hope or connection actually make you more open to those feelings in life?
Interesting question. Does repeating words of generosity nudge you towards being more
It
generous?
would be the language we use, the stories we tell ourselves in practice.
Yeah.
Maybe they shape us more than we realize.
Something to keep exploring, definitely. The power in the words and the actions behind them.
Until our next deep dive, stay curious, keep learning, and maybe keep an eye out for those unexpected pink umbrellas.